The woman I was supposed to marry betrayed me with my brother. 6 years later, she texted me again. And this time, I didn't run. 6 years ago, I walked in on my own brother in my bed with my fiancée. 2 weeks before my new wedding, she just texted me again. My name's Ethan, and in exactly 2 weeks, I'm supposed to marry the best woman Eve ever known. Her name is Natalie. She's a corporate attorney. Sharp as a tack, calm under pressure, and she carries this quiet confidence that somehow keeps me steady. After everything that happened 6 years ago, I truly believed I'd never find someone like her. But here we are. The reason I'm sharing all this is because 3 days ago, my past came crashing back into my present. Out of nowhere, my ex-fiancée, Lila, sent me a text. Just seeing her name on my phone made my chest tighten like it used to. Her message was short. Ethan, I need to see you one last time. Please, things aren't what you think. That was the first time I'd heard from her in 6 years. Not one message before that, for good reason. Back then, Lila and I were supposed to be getting married. The plans were locked in. Venue paid, my suit pressed and ready, her dress hanging in the closet, perfect. Our families already making travel arrangements. We'd been together 4 years, and I honestly thought I knew her better than anyone else in the world. Turns out I didn't know her at all. The night before the wedding, I realized I'd forgotten to grab the backup wedding band. I was staying at a hotel with my groomsmen, but the ring was still at the apartment Lila and I shared. No big deal, I figured. I'd just swing by, pick it up, and head right back. I unlocked the door around 10 p.m. The lights were on, so I assumed she was inside doing last-minute wedding stuff with her bridesmaids. I walked down the hallway toward the bedroom. That's when I heard her laugh. Not her usual laugh. This one was softer, breathy, intimate. A sound I thought only belonged to us. I pushed the bedroom door open. Lila was in our bed with my half-brother, Marcus. This wasn't some split-second mistake. I knew it instantly by the look on their faces when they saw me. There wasn't just shock there was acceptance. Like they'd always known this day would come. I didn't scream. I didn't throw a punch or break anything. I just stood there, frozen. Felt like an hour, but it was probably only 30 seconds. Marcus started talking. I don't even remember what he said. Lila pulled the sheets up to her chest and started sobbing, saying my name over and over. Then she said the one thing from that night I'll never forget. With tears running down her face, she looked straight at me and said, "Ethan, I'm sorry, but I never wanted to marry you. I wanted him. I always have." The wedding was less than 24 hours away, and she was telling me I was never meant to be the groom. I turned around and walked out. By midnight, I'd already called the venue and canceled everything. By 2 a.m., I emailed everyone invited and told them the wedding was off due to unforeseen circumstances, and that I'd personally cover any travel reimbursements. By 6 a.m., I had 2 suitcases packed. By noon, what would have been my wedding day, I was driving 3 hours to another city where an old college buddy had been begging me to help him build a business. I never spoke to Lila again. I blocked her on everything. I completely cut Marcus out of my life too, which also meant creating distance from my dad, since Marcus was his favorite from his second marriage. I left behind my apartment, my job, my friends. I just needed to escape the wreckage of everything I'd planned. That first year nearly broke me. I won't pretend it didn't. I worked 18-hour days on our tech startup because the moment I stopped working, my mind went right back to that night. I kept replaying everything. When it started, how long it had been going on, how someone I trusted so completely could betray me like that. None of the questions ever had answers. But somewhere around year 2, things finally started turning around. Our construction project management software began solving real problems. By year 3, we made the state's top 10 fastest-growing companies list. By year 4, I bought out my partner and opened 3 offices. And slowly, without even realizing it, Lila and Marcus faded into the background of my life. That's when I met Natalie. She was representing a client in a contract dispute with one of my subcontractors. In that conference room, she was relentless in the best way. She didn't let me slide on a single detail. After the case settled, I asked her out to dinner. She said no. I asked again 2 weeks later. Still no. The third time, she finally said yes. Later, she told me she only agreed because I showed persistence without crossing into creepy territory. We've been together 2 years now. She knows everything about Lila and Marcus. She's seen me on the quiet days when the anniversary of that night rolls around and I shut down a little. She's never tried to force forgiveness or push some emotional breakthrough. She just stays beside me, steady and solid. 2 months ago, I got down on one knee and asked her to marry me. She said yes. We planned a small wedding, just close friends, no family drama, nothing flashy. Just the two of us choosing each other clearly and on purpose. Then Lila's message showed up. I showed it to Natalie immediately. We don't hide things from each other. I expected her to tell me to delete it and block the number. Instead, she read the text twice, looked at me carefully and said, "If you're going to see her, then do it on your terms. Close that door the right way." So now I'm here asking you all, do I meet Lila? What could she possibly have to say after 6 years? Part of me wants to ignore it like it never happened. I already buried that part of my life once. I don't know if Eve got the strength to dig it back up. But another part of me, the part that's about to marry someone new, wonders if Natalie's right. Maybe I need to hear whatever Lilith's excuse is and shut it down face to face so there's no question left hanging. What would you do? Edit. I did not expect this to blow up like this. I'm reading through the comments now and answering some of the common questions. Yes, Marcus had keys to my apartment. I'd given him a spare set months earlier when he was between places and needed somewhere to crash from time to time. Yeah, looking back now, I see how careless that was. And to answer one of the biggest questions people asked, yes, my dad did take Marcus' side in the beginning. He said I was overreacting and brushed it off with the whole boys will be boys kind of nonsense. We barely talk anymore. And no, I have no idea what happened to Lila or Marcus after I left. I cut both of them completely out of my life. Update 4 days later. Hey everyone, Ethan here again. First off, I just want to say thank you for the overwhelming support on my original post. After reading hundreds of comments, one clear message stood out. If I was going to meet Lila, I had to do it the right way. That meant no letting her control the situation. No meeting alone. And no allowing her to twist the past into something it wasn't. After I posted, Natalie and I sat down and talked for hours. She has this way of slicing right through emotional chaos and getting straight to the truth. She told me, "This woman shattered your life the night before your wedding. You don't owe her a single thing, not even a reply. But if a part of you feels like you need closure before we start our life together, I won't stop you. What I won't allow is for her to have any power over you again." That's when we made a plan. Yesterday morning, I finally texted Lila back. Tomorrow, 7 p.m., Edison Lounge downtown. Come alone. The Edison is an upscale cocktail bar in the middle of the financial district. Public, polished, and completely disconnected from any place Lila and I ever shared. No nostalgia. No emotional landmines. What I didn't mention to her was that I wouldn't be alone either. Natalie insisted on coming. Her exact words were, "I'm not there to fight your battles. I'm there because I'm your future and she needs to see that." So last night, we arrived at the Edison at 6:45 p.m. Natalie looked incredible in a charcoal suit. Her hair pulled back, every inch the accomplished attorney she is. We took a big corner booth with a clear view of the entrance. The setup was simple. I'd be the one speaking, but my people would be right there. No private conversations. No emotional ambushes in a dark corner. Lila walked in at 7:03. At first, I barely recognized her. 6 years ago, she was always confident and polished, like she had the world figured out. The woman who stepped through those doors last night looked worn down. Her clothes were still nice, but not the designer labels she used to show off. No engagement ring. No wedding band. Her hairstyle was different, but it was her eyes that caught me. They looked desperate. Empty. She spotted me right away. Then she saw Natalie. Then Daniel and Ryan. Her face fell. Slowly. She walked over, gripping her purse like it was some kind of shield. "Ethan," she said softly, "I didn't realize you'd be bringing others." "You said you needed to talk to me," I replied calmly. "So talk." "And this is Natalie, my fiancée." Natalie gave a polite nod but didn't offer her hand. Lila stared at her for a second, and I could see something in her expression quietly break. "Could we talk alone?" Lila asked, her voice trembling. "No," I said, not harsh but steady. "Anything you need to say, you can say right here." She sat across from us, already blinking back tears. "Ethan, I know what I did was unforgivable, but—" "Stop," I cut in. "You texted me saying everything wasn't what I thought it was. That's why I'm here. Say what you came to say." She glanced at Natalie, then back at me. "Marcus and I, it wasn't supposed to happen." "Don't," I said, holding up a hand. "Do not insult me by saying it just happened. I walked in on you two in our bed the night before my wedding. There were wine glasses on the dresser. You were on a date in my apartment. That wasn't an accident." Her tears started falling faster. "You're right," she said. "It wasn't the first time. It had been going on for 3 months. But Ethan, you have to understand." "I don't have to understand anything," I said. "What I understand is this: you slept with my brother while planning to marry me. You let me pay for a wedding. You let my family book flights. You let me believe in a future that didn't exist. And then you destroyed it." "I know," she said loudly, then lowered her voice as people nearby began to look. "I know what I did. And Eve paid for it." That's when Natalie finally spoke. "Paid for it?" she said calmly. "How exactly?" "By facing the consequences of your own actions." Lila shot her a look before turning back to me. "Marcus left me after you disappeared," she said. "Everything fell apart. He said he never meant for it to get that serious. Said he wasn't ready to settle down. I lost my job once people in our social circle found out. Most of our friends sided with you. Even my parents barely talk to me now." She stopped, like she expected that list to hit me hard. But it didn't. I thought I'd feel satisfaction, maybe even relief. Instead, I felt empty. "And what does any of that have to do with me?" I asked. Her voice dropped to a whisper. "I made a mistake. Eve regretted it for 6 years. Eve been in therapy. Eve worked on myself. I tried to understand why I ruined something good. I needed you to know that I'm sorry, that I understand what I destroyed, and that I hope." "You hope what?" Natalie asked sharply. "That he forgives you so you can finally feel better about yourself?" Lilith's eyes widened. "I just wanted closure." "No," Natalie said, leaning forward just a little. "You want absolution, and those are not the same thing. You want Ethan to tell you that you're not a bad person, that everyone makes mistakes, that it's all okay. But that's not his responsibility. He's not your therapist, and he's not your priest." I reached over and took Natalie's hand, squeezing it gently. Then I looked straight at Lila. "You want me to say something that makes you feel less guilty," I said. "But I can't do that. What you did 6 years ago completely redirected my life. I walked away from everything. I started over from nothing. And the truth is, I'm better because of it. The business I built. The life I live. The woman I'm about to marry, none of that would exist if you hadn't done what you did." Her face collapsed. "So you're saying you're glad it happened?" "I'm saying Eve moved on," I told her evenly. "I don't think about you. I don't play the what-if game. I'm not carrying anger or bitterness anymore. You're just not part of my life. And that's not cruelty. It's just the truth. Ethan, please, thank you for meeting me," I said as I stood up. "I truly mean that. I think I needed to see you one last time to realize just how far past this I really am. But this is goodbye, Lila. For real." Natalie stood up beside me, calm but sharp as a blade. She looked straight at Lila and said, "From this moment forward, you will not contact Ethan again. Not for closure. Not for apologies. For nothing. We're getting married in 10 days, and you will not be part of our lives in any way. Do you understand?" Lila just nodded as tears streamed down her face. We turned and walked out, leaving her sitting there alone. The ride home was quiet. Natalie kept her hand in mine the entire way. When we got back, she poured us each a whiskey, and we sat together on the couch. "How do you feel?" she asked. "Lighter," I admitted. Like ID finally set down something I didn't even realize I was still carrying. She smiled and kissed my forehead. "Good. Now let's get married and never think about her again. We're getting married next Saturday. I'll update you all after the wedding, assuming nothing else insane happens between now and then." Edit. A few people asked if Marcus tried to reach out too. Yeah, about an hour after I got home, I received a text from an unknown number. It was him. "I heard you met with Lila. We should talk too." I need to explain. I blocked the number instantly. One of them was already more than enough. I have no interest in hearing whatever he has to say. Update 2. 6 days later, I honestly didn't think I'd be posting again this soon. I thought the situation with Lila was finished after our meeting. Clean break, door shut, moving forward. But 2 days later, things took a turn I never expected. My dad called. For context, my father and I have barely spoken in 6 years. When everything happened with Lila and Marcus, he backed Marcus without hesitation. Said I was overreacting. Said these things happen. Told me I needed to be the bigger man and work it out for the sake of the family. When he found out I was leaving the city, he accused me of running from my problems. Since then, maybe 10 words total. Awkward holiday texts. Short birthday messages. Nothing real. So when his name popped up on my phone, I almost let it go to voicemail. But Natalie was sitting next to me, and as stupid as it sounds, I didn't want her thinking I was avoiding him. "Ethan," my dad said when I picked up. His voice sounded tired. "Marcus told me you met with Lila last week. He's not doing well. He's asking if you'd be willing to talk to him. He wants to apologize. Make things right before your wedding so the whole family can be there for you." I actually laughed. Not out of spite, just disbelief. "You're calling to defend Marcus," I said. "The same Marcus who slept with my fiancée the night before my wedding?" He let out a long, frustrated sigh. "That was 6 years ago, son. People make mistakes. He's your family." "No," I said flatly. "He stopped being my family the second he betrayed me. And you stopped being much of a father when you chose his side." There was a long stretch of silence. "That's not fair," he finally said. "I was just trying to keep the family together. By asking me to forgive the unforgivable?" I shot back. "By telling me to just get over it? Dad, you made your choice 6 years ago. And I made mine. I left. I rebuilt my life. And in 4 days, am marrying a woman who actually respects me. Marcus and his apology can go to hell. Ethan, I'm done." I cut him off. "Do not call again to advocate for Marcus. And don't even think about bringing him to my wedding. Actually, scratch that. You're not invited either. This conversation is over." I hung up. Natalie squeezed my hand. "I'm proud of you," she said softly. But that wasn't the end of it. Yesterday afternoon, I got a call from my business partner and best friend, Daniel. He knows everything that happened 6 years ago. He sounded angry. "Dude, you need to hear this," he said. "Lila showed up at my office. Apparently, Shed figured out where he works and came in pretending to be concerned about me. She told him she was worried I was rushing into marriage without dealing with my trauma. Suggested I should postpone the wedding to make sure I'm doing this for the right reasons. Daniel told her to leave immediately or head call security. The sheer nerve of it blew my mind. That's when Natalie made an executive call. Through her law firm, she drafted a cease and desist letter that was delivered to Lila that same evening. It states that any further contact with me, my fiancé, or any of our friends, co-workers, or associates will be considered harassment and could result in legal action. She didn't ask me first. She just handled it. When I asked why, she said, "Because you're too kind to do it yourself, and this woman clearly doesn't understand what the word no means. I am marrying the right person." Then this morning, I got a long email from Marcus. I didn't read most of it, just skimmed enough to catch the general idea. He's engaged now, poor woman, and wanted to clear the air before his own wedding. He talked about how he's grown, how he knows what he did was wrong. He said Lila reached out to him after seeing me and that she's not in a great place mentally. He asked if I could consider showing some compassion. I forwarded the email to Natalie without replying. She wrote back, "Want me to send him a cease and desist too?" I told her not yet, but to keep it ready. The wedding was 4 days away. We had about 40 people on the guest list, friends from the business, Natalie's family, a handful of college buddies I'd stayed close with over the years. No complicated histories, no emotional landmines, just people who genuinely supported us. Natalie and I went for a long walk that night. At one point, she asked me if I was worried that Lila or Marcus might try to pull something dramatic at the wedding. I won't lie, there was a tiny part of me that still wondered. But the venue was a private estate, the guest list was locked down tight, and security had strict instructions not to let anyone in who wasn't on it. Lila can send all the messages she wants. Marcus can write as many apology emails as he likes. My dad can try to guilt-trip me about family. None of it matters anymore. Eve already moved on. I told you all I'd post one final update after the wedding, assuming I had a moment between the honeymoon and getting back to real life. Before I get to that, a quick note. A lot of you asked about my mom. She passed away when I was 12. That's why my dad eventually remarried, and how Marcus became my half-brother. Some of you also asked if any of my family would be at the wedding. The answer was no. Natalie's parents and her sister were there, though, and they're wonderful people. I was completely okay with it being just them from the family side. Final update, 12 days later, I'm officially married now. And happy. The wedding was last Saturday, and it was perfect. Natalie looked absolutely stunning. The weather played along. And most importantly, nobody from my past showed up to cause a scene. We just got back from a short honeymoon in Colorado, and I promised I'd come back one last time to close this whole story out. The day before the wedding, I did get one last text from an unknown number. Just 3 words. "I'm sorry, Ethan." I assume it was Lila, since the number disappeared right after Natalie's cease and desist. I deleted the message and didn't reply. The wedding itself was everything I didn't get 6 years ago. Simple, intentional, and surrounded by people who truly wanted to be there. My best man, Daniel, gave a speech about how I rebuilt myself from the ashes like a phoenix in a business suit. Natalie's sister cried. I almost did too. During our first dance, Natalie leaned in and whispered, "No regrets." I knew exactly what she meant. Not about marrying her, but about everything that led us here. None, I told her. And I meant it. A lot of people told me I had to forgive Lila and Marcus in order to move on or find peace. I don't believe that. What they did was unforgivable. And am not required to absolve them just so they can feel better about themselves. What I did instead was build something new. I poured my energy into creating a life that didn't include them, instead of wasting years staying angry about what they destroyed. As for how everyone else ended up, I haven't heard from Lila since that last text before the wedding. Natalie's cease and desist did its job. Through mutual acquaintances, I heard that Lila moved back to her hometown about 3 hours away. She's working retail now, quite a change from the director-level position she had 6 years ago. I do hope she gets her life together. But it's not my concern anymore. Marcus' situation didn't turn out so great either. A cousin told me his engagement fell apart after his fiancée learned what had done with Lila and me. And apparently, he later lost his job at my dad's company after they had a major falling out. Last I heard, he moved 2 states away to start over. Funny how life works like that. I haven't spoken to my dad since that last phone call. A few days after the wedding, he sent a card in the mail. No apology. Just congratulations on your marriage, and his signature. I threw it away. Through my cousin, I heard he's not doing well. Marcus leaving hit him hard. And supposedly, he finally admitted to the family that maybe, just maybe, he backed the wrong son. Too little. Too late. Right now, as I'm typing this, Natalie's asleep on the couch beside me. She's worn out from unpacking and catching up on work after the honeymoon. Case files are scattered across the coffee table. Her reading glasses are sitting crooked on her face. She's even snoring a little. And Eve never been more certain about anything in my life than I am about choosing her. That's it. That's the end of the story. Thanks for everything, Reddit. It's been real.